not good enough. We're gonna show you what league's all about. If there's a lesson to be learned, we're handing it out. This game is our game. This town is our town. Turn the heat up and listen to the crowd.
Matthew making the butt. Oh, Davis is on his inside. Halligan's missed it. Oh, get in the queue. Have a look at him. They got the hands up all over the field.
This game is our game. This town is our town. Turn the heat up and listen to the crowd.
20,000 over Caspian Lover.
The Winfield Cup Final Series, brought to you by Pizza Hut, Carlton Diamond Draft, Mitsubishi Motors and the Greater Building Society.
It's a try! Tremendous piece of rugby league. Too big, too far. Look at him go! Still a chance here for the Dragons. Brown rolls it in, it's a try! He lost it!
Get ready for the drama of Knockout Rugby League as we enter week 2 of the playoffs.
Later on for Healy. They're all onside. Eddinghausen taken out of it, I thought, by Hasler, but it's a try. It'll be a try. Through Andrew Johns with Matthew now. He tries to step. He's into space. There's the try.
Today it's Cronulla versus Newcastle.
2 metres out from the line. Barnett is over. Work it back to the left through 2 sets of hands. Andrew, he kicks for Ainscow. Race for the ball and Ainscow appeals again.
The Sharks took the minor premiers all the way to the wire, and now they're backing up for more.
I think they'll try and put the kick up because they have so much success. They can get a little bit of possession down here. And Bell gets through, they might score.
Eddinghausen!
Yeah.
He's over!
The Knights prove that they've got what it takes to handle the heat of finals football.
Now for the playmaker. Runs to the line, grubber kicks, and referee Manson consults the end goal and gives Butterfield the try.
But this time, it's sudden death.
Raper, he makes the mistake.
Who'll survive the test as the Knights meet the Sharks right here on Wide World of Sports.
6 teams are left in this year's Winfield Cup Rugby League competition. Last week we saw Manly and Canberra earn the right to have this weekend off courtesy of their victories. That sets up 2 elimination finals to be played over the next 2 days. And of course today, a very, very important game. The loser is out for 1995. The Newcastle Knights taking on the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks here at the Sydney Football Stadium. To qualify for this game last week, we saw the Knights finally register a win. They hadn't had one for a month, defeating the North Sydney side on Friday night in a very hard-fought game. Well, on the Sunday, Cronulla Sutherland will feel as though it was one that got away. They were beaten by Manly 24 points to 20, but they really did have an opportunity to win that match. Joining us in commentary, as always, Paul Fatty Horton. Paul, these 2 sides, of course, did meet in the last round of the competition. That saw Cronulla grab 4th spot, and controversial circumstances. They'll feel as though that, or Newcastle will feel as though they might have been dudded a little bit.
Yeah, Pete, on the night I thought Newcastle were hard done by a couple of tries that went to Cronulla that weren't tries as we saw in the replay. Kelvin Jeffs awarded them anyway. Cronulla winning that 24-14, and Newcastle got back to form last week, I thought, against North Sydney. So I think Newcastle will be fairly confident of turning the tables on Cronulla today. As we look at the Sharks team, a very good side. They've had the virtue of the same side together now for the last 8 weeks. Or 9 weeks. They won 8 in a row before losing to Manly last week. Matt Rogers returns from injury. He takes the place of Jeff Bell, who played so well last week. Eddinghausen, the captain, been in sparkling form. Paul Green, of course, the new Rothmans medal winner, and a very strong forward pack there, led by Les Davidson. Newcastle team reads this way, and they've been able to keep the same team together for a couple of weeks as well. Jamie Ainscow, he's been in terrific form. The battle against E.T. out there, Ainscow and E.T. will be a beauty. The Johns boys, they're the linchpin for anything that Newcastle do, and a strong pack of forwards led up by Tony Butterfield and Paul Harrigan, coached, of course, by Malcolm Reilly.
Yeah, very important that the 8 and the 10 there, Butterfield and Harrigan, do the same kind of job we saw them do last week. They weren't at their best in beating North Sydney. They did struggle, but it's been a while since they'd had a win. I caught up with their coach, Malcolm earlier on, and just asked him what he thought they needed to do today to take on this Cronulla Sutherland side, such a strong Sharks lineup.
Percentage game, they're going to be very honest, is Cronulla. Their kicking game is going to be first class, as it was against us in the last round of the competition. They scored, I think, 4 tries from kicks. Mitch Healy is excellent at it. Naturally, we've got to reduce his time on the ball, and field position is going to be vital. Our completions and go forward. If we can get some good territorial field positions, maybe his offensive kicks won't be as dangerous.
The kicking game so very important in this match, and I'm sure they will be looking to put pressure on Mitch Healy whenever possible. Paul, which way are you going?
I'm leaning towards Newcastle, Peter. I think they've got just a little bit more try-scoring potential, especially with the Johns boys in sparkling form.
Yeah, well, I'll put the mock on them as well. I think that Newcastle might just win this one. Cronulla, very, very difficult to come back from what must have been a shattering loss last week. And, of course, the loser is out today. We're about to see one side go through for another week, and a team about to make their exit for 1995. We'll take a break now and be back with our final here at the Sydney Football Stadium. The Cronulla Sharks up against the Newcastle Knights.
Football Stadium on a glorious day in Sydney. There was a little bit of rain overnight, but that has cleared away and the sun is shining down, and there are many rare sights out there today, waiting expectantly to, I would imagine, welcome their side as victors. Sober and Fatty's good looking. I see. Yeah. I tell you what, you bet your bottom dollar he was drunk if he thinks Fatty's good looking. Here they come, the Sharks. The Sharks of Cronulla, 7 times in their history they've been to the finals. They're hoping to press onward today. Had it last weekend and they let it out. And no doubt that has been talked about and thought about long and hard during the week. There is their captain Andrew Ettinghausen and Rothman's medalist Paul Green. Won the coveted title on Tuesday night. Good crowd in of the Sydney Football Stadium. The blue and the red of Newcastle. The pale blue, black and white of Cronulla as the Knights come out. They've been to the finals once before. Led by Paul Harrigan. The way you look at this final, must go in as favourites. Steve Roach is down on the sidelines. Peter and Paul have both gone for Newcastle. Which way are you leaning?
I'm leaning for Cronulla. I think their season's been outstanding. Cool conditions down here on the sideline. As usual, the wind swirling around, but it will be in favour of Newcastle. They've won the toss. They'll be running from left to right.
Tense moments. The final seconds tick by. One of these sides will drop out today. 1.5 hours down the track. Eddie Ward is the referee. Rated as number 1. Mitch Healy is set to kick off, and Cronulla, they start the elimination semi-final running right to left as Newcastle bring it back on the first set of 6. Just inside their 20-metre line. They know they defeated Cronulla when they played at Caltex earlier this year. And then they went down in a disputed result at Marathon when Matt Rogers scored those 4 tries. McCormick it is, who unloads. Newcastle again, taking it straight up the centre on their first set of 6 with Tony Butterfield. Come back into the centre and Matthew Johns is in possession. And they're right on the halfway line as they put on their first kick of the game. And Andrew Johns waits it down into the corner where Matt Rogers takes it, but a penalty has gone to Cronulla. It's against Newcastle's chasers being offside and coming inside the 10-metre perimeter.
They weren't too happy with the decision, Newcastle men, and I think they've got every right to be a little bit disappointed. Ainscough, I thought, was just onside. And no surprise that they did kick to Matt Rogers' wing. They'll be looking to put a bit of pressure on the youngster. Coming out of that shoulder injury, going to give it a good test.
The first penalty of the game goes to Cronulla. And they take it back towards the halfway point. They're 45 metres out, in fact, through Danny Lee. And then a smashing tackle takes Les Davidson to ground. Raper, dummy to the open, went back on the blind side. And the number 11 for Cronulla, Craig Greenhill, plays it. It comes into Green and then across to Nickau. Nickau taken down by 3 of the Newcastle defence men. Now Healy lines up an angle for Sean Ryan, and he goes back infield on tackle number 5, and Healy is on the blind waiting for it. He puts the right foot to it. It's high and it's fairly long, and Robbie Ross was underneath it. He's lost the ball. Knocked on, says referee Ward.
Well, that wasn't an easy take. He did so well, Robbie Ross, to catch that football. It swirled around up in the air and then actually sort of reefed loose there by Barnett.
Well, that's a ruling that really somebody's got to clarify. Sometimes you'd see a penalty given for that.
This is an unusual move here. Mitch Healy's actually gone to half-back, pushing Paul Green out to 5'8". Fullback standing on a very short line side as Davidson has been penalised.
Well, this is a turn-up. He must have given Eddie Ward a nice old gobful. Les Davidson enough for Ward to pull him out of the scrum, chastise him and penalise him. And Cronulla had the advantage there, so that's a big blow to their hopes.
I think he's got him for pushing the head down in a headbutt fashion. Not saying it was a headbutt, but for going in early.
I know it made no difference being up that end of the park, but that would not have been a differential penalty either if he got him for foul play or for abusive language. Newcastle now with Adam Muir. I would imagine Malcolm really would be keen for Adam to be more selective with his passing. Danny Lee wiping out one of the Johns boys. And now Paul Marquette. Heavy stuff as Davidson lines him up on the end of the shoulder. Andrew Johns waits it, keeps it low. Rogers across, bad bounce for Samet. Goes across the park and Marquette lines him up and makes the tackle. Now Barnett. 12 out from his line. 8 out of their last 9 they won. For a suffering defeat at the hands of Manly last weekend. Newcastle, 1 out of their last 4. Cronulla starting favourites in the match.
2 very good tackles there from Robbie McCormack, rolling the tackle player onto his back, slowing down the play of the ball. That's the 5th tackle now. They're only 34 out from their own line, so it's been a good defensive effort here from the Knights.
Healy, he kicks it to Landis, and it rolls inside the 20-metre line. We're joined by Phil Gould.
Yeah, it's very important, Peter, that Newcastle are extremely busy at Cronulla's end of the field. Last week, Manly gave them too much scope, working the ball out of trouble. As a result, Mitch Healy are able to work out to the 40 or 50. He puts a 50-yard kick in, and you're continually getting the ball at your own end of the field. You've got to be very busy on Cronulla at their end of the field, so they are kicking from their own 20 and get some good field position.
Darren Tracy taken to ground. Penalty goes to Newcastle. It's against Sean Ryan, the Cronulla number 12. Something happened in the tackle. Ryan it was who came over the top. I don't know that he was the guilty factor, but it was raked out in the tackle. That was the reason for the penalty. And this is Tony Butterfield, a foundation member of the Newcastle Knights. Now for Matthew to show it, and then they try and put Muir across on the fringe of the ruck. A penalty goes to Newcastle. This is within kicking distance, very much so. 25 out and about 15 off centre.
You can see Muir trying to play the ball quickly, and the Cronulla defender not trying to roll away. No attempt to roll away there. Penalty to Newcastle, and Andrew Johns to have a shot at goal.
A bit of talk out there between some of the players as well. Back rowers for Newcastle, Adam Muir and Tracy have a little bit to say to the opposition. Plenty of feeling there. So much at stake. Just over 6 minutes gone in this elimination final. And really, Newcastle have had a good start because they're the recipient of quite a few penalties already.
It's held by many of us in rugby league that Newcastle is a side that enjoys leading. So that will be something that will very much depend on Cronulla's defence. They like to lead. Andrew Johns, his kick is just offline. It goes dead, so it'll be a 20-metre drop kick restart. Tomorrow we come back and do it again for Brisbane and Canterbury. Healy sends his drop kick down. And Davis it is that sends Muir back. And as you can see, he's right on the halfway line. Telecast going around Australia, live into most centres. And live in New Zealand, we welcome our Kiwi neighbours. As Butterfield plays it now, 38 metres out from the Cronulla line, and Matthew Johns puts on a play with McCormick to go through Harrigan. And then for Andrew, was Ainscough taken out? I'll wait for a call from the touch judge. Matt Rogers, meantime, work to do. Gets around the defence, comes outside the 10-metre line. Excellent effort by Rogers.
Yeah, good work by Cronulla there. That is the same sequence from the line dropout we saw a try against North Sydney last week. A little switch of play and the kick over the top. Jamie Ainscough scored on that occasion. That time Andrew Eddinghausen alerts the tactic, got himself in the way of Jamie Ainscough, and the winger and the fullback were back expecting the kick.
So on the 40-metre line, it comes away to Green on the open, and that's Davidson taking a forward play. He's 5 metres short of halfway. 8 1/4 minutes gone in this, the first of the elimination semi-finals. The chase is on from Cronulla as Robbie Ross brings it back for Newcastle. No score on the board. 6-4. There was nothing in the match at Caltex in the first round. And when you weigh up the result at Marathon, not much in that one either. As Darren Tracy weathers a battering from the Cronulla defence, including Richard Barnett, named in the Kiwis World Cup squad during the week. And so that's a big boost for Cronulla, added to Paul Green's Rothmans medal win. They're on the halfway line. McCormick, a scurry from dummy half, and then he gets it away. And Muir, he finds backing up is Ross, and Ross is tackled. 5 gone. They're 28 metres out as they come away to the right, and they go to Andrew Johns. He sends it over into the centre of the park, looks for the crossbar. And it goes dead, so it's a 20-metre tap to restart.
He's very disappointed with that kick, as you can see. Had a lot of pressure on. He looked for the open spaces. Just hit it a little bit too heavily. Didn't get the bounce he wanted over the dead ball line. The Sharks get the restart. Second tackle now for Danny Lee. 43 out from his own line.
It might sound like an exaggeration when I said he was looking for the crossbar. He was certainly looking to bring the uprights in as a factor. No mistake about that. Steve Roach on the sidelines. Is there a problem with Ainscough?
Yeah, Ainscough's got a crook right shoulder. That's a bit of worry for the Newcastle Knights. He's their best chaser of the kick, so they'll be in a bit of trouble now.
Did that happen when he tried to pursue a kick earlier on when I said, was he taken out?
Yes, it did, mate.
All right, so it's Paul Green with no markers. He kicks, and now it bounces down towards the 10-metre line. Robbie O'Davis confronted by the Sharks, and Green, he put them all onside. Good individual effort by the Cronulla number 7. And Herman now comes away to the 20-metre and beyond. Ainscough trying to get some feeling in that shoulder. He's centre-left defence for the Knights. They can't afford to lose Ainscough. Now, McCormick back for Johns, and he's able to hold it in one hand. He finds his brother, and then I think the player on the ground, Raper, hung an arm out and was able to ankle tap him. Matthew Johns is held now by Tawira Nikau, the Castleford addition to Cronulla this year. Andrew kicks. It goes down over the head of Ben Samet, sits up on its point and comes back, as does Samet, and he runs into Paul Marquette.
Tremendous work from Aaron Raper there, putting pressure on the kicker, but he'd also made a real effort the 2 tackles before. Here's Barnett leading 2 defenders up the middle.
Now away from Samet. He Sends Danny Lee to them, and the Knights in a defensive mode. 10 metres into Cronulla's territory, and this is Greenhill. Greenhill taken over the top by Muir. And Harrigan in the tackle. Healy now, short pass away for Nikau. McCormack makes a desperate grab at him. Healy supports. Healy not held. Gets to the 30, but it's a penalty. Penalty to Newcastle. I think he might have told them to play the ball.
Yes, dead right there, Ravi. Eddie Ward. It's been a quick call.
Quick call, right?
And Nikau, he must have called in there.
Well, he had no right to.
No, he was still in motion and looking to offload, looking to do something with the football.
I think he's called Healy to play it there.
Yeah. You see Healy's arm carrying the ball touched the ground, and a player had a hand on him. That is a tackle. And even if he doesn't call held or call on him to play the ball, the player is supposed to know that he should play the ball, that he has been tackled.
What happens if the player lets him go, as Marquette did? He's got every right
but
to get
the
up.
tackle, the ball was on the ground with the tackler hanging on to him at the time. So a knock-on and a scramble pack 10 metres away from the Cronulla line.
Stroke of luck here for the Knights as McCormack put a little one through. And the knock-on by Nikau.
Right blind side here. Matthew John standing right behind the scrum. An unusual place for the 5'8" to be.
On keeping them guessing. Andrew away for Matthew, and Ross hits the line and hits the shoulder of Healy and Nikau. They come right. Ainsco's involved. Grogan stands. Back for Ainsco. Ainsco 10 metres out from the line. Cronulla's defence. They've let 16 tries less than Newcastle in. Away from Matthew. On for Andrew. Now the numbers. There's a problem for Cronulla. Butterfield goes out for O'Davis. Oh, desperate tackle by Green. Now, or was it Eddinghausen? McCormack away. Johns. Ross, he's after it. So is Cronulla, and they win it. I think it may have come off the Newcastle boot.
That's tremendous work from those Cronulla chasers there under enormous pressure. They've allowed the kick to go dead. Ross just got a checkered passage.
And I'll tell you what, Matthew Johns is limping badly out on the far side of the field. There's a penalty should go Cronulla's way here for a tackle on Rogers.
So from the 20-metre tap restart, it's been a legal shot. I think it was Adam Muir, and Eddie Ward has given the penalty, and we've got Matthew Johns in awful trouble. He's dropped back into a sweeper roll. Danny Lee stands on the 40-metre line. Another penalty for the Sharks. Rogers will probably take the shot.
The game's been going 15 minutes. We've had an enormous amount of penalties. That's 7 in total. Now, the Sharks' first chance to register points. Matt Rogers coming in. 15 metres in from touch. Not the best side for a right-footed kicker, but the way that he's kicked them this year, I'd have to fancy his chances.
Matt Rogers, the scorer of 4 tries.
Oh, that'll do, mate. No, it's not the best side for a right-footed kicker.
No, exactly.
That's what I gave it to Matt Rogers.
It's a good side for a left-foot kicker, mate.
Yeah, you are, kid.
There's Matthew Johns. He's a very worried young player at the moment.
Well, he's been on his haunches and limping around like that for the last 3 or 4 minutes.
Four tries and 2 goals to Matt Rogers in their 20 points. 24 points to 14 victory at Marathon. Here he is now. 30 metres out, looks okay, just wide again. They've got to get it back, and they do. Now they open up some space. Grogan comes to Nikau, held by him. And Healy comes in to support.
Really thought he should have passed the ball back inside there. Herman was flying and had some support as well. They decide to take the tackle. Harrigan now makes a charge up the centre.
Tremendous play by Robbie Ross. The first time he handled the day, of course, he came up with a drop ball right on his own line. There under pressure again, but still with the confidence in his own ability to give it to the open man on the outside. Jamie Ainscough coming from the field.
Michael Egar in 28 going on. A bit of first grade experience. Really tough defender. The ball now back to Matthew Johns.
Newcastle's got a further problem. Harrigan is limping in back play. They've got Harrigan and Johns both in trouble. There's the big fella trying to reach the scrum now.
Greenhill got a little bit of a problem as well for Cronulla. Harrigan hurt in that tackle. The kick from Matthew Johns was a good one. One in touch. Scrum set 10 metres out. Players wounded out there just at the moment.
Well, it's sudden death. They're not holding anything back, are they? They're throwing themselves at each other. Everyone taking chances with the ball.
Rogers coming off the right wing and tackled by Michael Egar. I've seen him in the top grade fleetingly before. Danny Lee now lines up for what he does best. That is rucking it out. Greenhill, as Peter said, is in trouble for Cronulla. Davidson held 35 metres away from the Cronulla line. Well, they've both had an opportunity for a penalty goal, and both kickers have gone as close, just grazing the outside of the uprights.
Newcastle are doing a very good job of defence. I said they had to get busy in Cronulla's end of the field, and Cronulla, unlike last week, looking a little bunched at their own end. Maybe the speed of the game is not letting them get set as quickly, but last week they made good ground out wide from their own territory, spinning the ball, not even in position to do that today, and as a result Newcastle can condense up and come at them quickly.
Greenhill has come from the field for Cronulla, and Adam Ritson has gone on in jumper 21. So Newcastle spreading it very quickly, and it's out with Adam Muir. He's able to unload, and Johns under pressure is asked to take the pass. Matthew it is. Here's Harrigan now. Seems a little bit more comfortable on that ankle. Almost to the halfway line, the last tackle. And Andrew Johns puts it down and finds the line. 15 metres away from the Cronulla line. No score. And we've had 19 minutes of the elimination semi-final. Nod there from Matthew Johns. The inquiry from the trainer. Are you all right? So Cronulla Sutherland now. That scrum was packed very gratuitously for Cronulla out on the 20-metre line, though the ball crossed the touchline 15 out. Here's Ritson. Young war horse in the game, and been called into this match probably a fraction earlier than Johnny Lang would have liked. Greenhill back to the bench, wounded at the moment, as Danny Lee goes through his captain for Healy to give on for Ritson, and Ritson is held there by McCormick, and also Muir, I fancy, was involved in the tackle. Green has Nico outside him, pulls it back and goes back to the left, and then Ritson for Lee, and Lee dances away from Marquette, taken by Andrew Johns. McCormick is involved, so is Harrigan. 5 tackles gone as Healy is asked for direction. It goes back for Raper, a difficult kick, but he gets it in. Ross takes it on the bounce and heads away from the 20-metre line.
Yeah, Cronulla look uncomfortable, unlike previous weeks where they've shown a lot of confidence to spread the ball wide. That time Andrew Eddinghausen wasn't even in position once out wide to get the ball. Newcastle have come up with a mistake, but Cronulla look a little uneasy, not getting to their 5th tackle option the way they want it, and not spreading the ball as much as normal.
Bateman finds Eddinghausen. Rogers comes in. Rogers inside the 30. I don't think they're going to get him. No, he's over. Matt Rogers scores again. He's proving a nemesis for Newcastle.
A tremendous speed shown by Matt Rogers, outpacing Robbie O'Davis. This was the mistake from Tony Herman. It gave up possession, Not particularly good defence out wide from Robbie Davis. Good pass here, gets Eddinghausen on the outside. If we freeze it there, Eddinghausen's gone across. You can see both Newcastle players are committed. That opens the hole up for Rogers on the inside, and he accepts it gleefully. Robbie Davis had to turn and chase. Didn't have the speed, the sparing dive at the end. Matt Rogers, he loves scoring tries against the Knights.
Yes, it came from the Herman mistake, although I thought there was a hand by a Cronulla player around the ball. But Robbie Ross really gave up fairly quickly here in his chase of Matt Rogers. In the shades of his father, Steve, from last night. Matt Rogers in the open.
So Rogers with a very, very simple shot for conversion. This will see Cronulla about 23 minutes into the game, leading 6-0. Try for Matt Rogers, and he can...
Come salad.
22nd minute of the elimination semi-final, and Cronulla Sutherland 6-0 up on Newcastle. Ritson it is with the ball. The try coming just in front of the break. It's Rogers scoring and converting. Now it's Samet and Lee, met by Tracy. There again, Danny Lee to the fore. 14 tackles, leads the tackles. That was his 6th hit up in the game. Raper gets in a kick. Bounce of the ball! Bounce of the ball! Chance for Cronulla! Green celebrates a big week! Celebrates the Rothmans win! Scores a try, as he did last Sunday against Manly.
And great to see Aaron Raper involved. He spilled a kick last week, a similar one to this. But the bounce was a beauty for the Cronulla side. Robbie Ross was a long way away on the other side of the field. Herman couldn't tackle Green, who dives over in spectacular fashion to get their second try. Just about as many minutes.
Well, they got their first try within 6 tackles. Here they are with another one. A great set of 6, moving 70 metres down the park to put themselves in great field position. And a deft kick there from Raper. And this is what the rugby league ball can do. And Paul Green looking for an opportunity, and there it came. And sprints for the corner. Too much speed for Herman.
Very good kick from Aaron Raper, finding open spaces. Robbie Ross was over towards the posts. Tony Herman, the first man back there, got a horror bounce.
So Paul Green caps off, as I said, a magnificent week for him. It was his 2nd Rothmans medal. He won it 3 years earlier in Brisbane.
It's funny how little things can change your attitude. Cronulla, we talked about how they looked a little more bunched and playing without the confidence of previous weeks. They get a try off a drop ball. Suddenly the next set of 6, they sprout wings. They get to the 80 within their 5 tackles and a chip kick for a try. They'll be steaming with confidence now.
21 metres out on the touchline, coming around but not quickly enough. So no addition to the scoreboard. Cronulla 10, Newcastle 0, 25 minutes gone. For rejoining us at the Sydney Football Stadium, Nine's exclusive coverage of the 1995 Winfield Cup Finals. Cronulla 10, 2 tries. They came in the space of 4 minutes. They lead 10-0 over Newcastle, in trouble. Steve Roach, give us a report on the injuries as best you can.
Yeah, Craig Greenhill has a badly corked fight. I don't think there's any chance of him coming back. Jamie Ainscough, still some problems with that shoulder. He's had a needle. They're just going to see how he goes.
Well, he's with the football now.
Yeah, it's important now for Newcastle. They're not a very good side coming from behind. We've talked about how free-flowing they can be in front. They're not the sort of side to graft out when they are behind. The priority for any football team down 10-0 at this time is to say, OK, we can't change that, but it's very important the opposition don't score again. We can chase 10, we can't chase 16 or 20. So your defence becomes your priority, even though you're 10 points behind. They've got to give themselves a chance of getting back in the game. This is the sort of football they don't need, trying to score the 10 points in one play.
Here's Ritson now, aiming to hurt them. They've been made to pay for their mistakes, Newcastle. And now here's Danny Lee on the 30-metre line. Draper, a dummy half. Davidson. A busy start to the game by both Davidson and Lee. Easily their most experienced forwards. Healy with a pirouette and back. 22 out now from Newcastle's line. Green sensing that they can be the next team to score and make it almost impossible for Newcastle. Penalty goes to Cronulla. They'll take the kick at goal from right in front.
It's starting to fall apart for Newcastle now, late in the tackle count. Penalty given away. Well, McCormack was probably the man to blame, even though I'm not quite sure whether he was the man penalised. If Jamie Ainsco's got a shoulder problem, he's also picked up a leg problem out there as well. He's limping about. He's in all sorts of trouble, Ainscough.
Now, Matt Rogers is also injured, and Mitch Healy has got the job of taking the penalty. Apparently he's feeling unsteady on his feet, Matt Rogers. Jeff Bell is 16, getting ready. The question being asked of Matt Rogers by the trainer, can you continue? Apparently he's quite wobbly on his feet. A couple of those legends might have been wobbling on their feet this morning too. They'll take a big drink after that. Now Healy from just 12 metres out, right in front and no problems. And it's only 2 points, but it adds to the Newcastle problem. 12-0 after 29 minutes now. Welcome back to the football stadium. Luck may have changed here for Newcastle. Andrew Johns is with the football 10 metres out from the Cronulla line, and they're on only their second tackle after a Cronulla mistake. Matthew Johns across the park. Adam Muir breaks into a hole, gets it back for Matthew. He tries to get it away but thinks better of it and plays it 10 metres out. McCormack sweeps it across for Andrew Johns, and he is taken by the Cronulla defence. They let him go, and he's away, gets the pass on. Ainscough puts it down into the arms of Harrigan. Back it comes, picked up by Andrew Johns. He puts the kick in. There's a chase by Robbie O'Davis, but Cronulla wins the race.
Exciting play there from the Knights. Looked like they might have got their first try for the afternoon after the original mistake by Les Davidson. Took the ball up strongly, but hit hard. Billy Peden on there now for Newcastle. And the ensuing set of tackles is the end result.
Well, that'll be a gentle reminder of Cronulla. Last week they led by 12 points against Manly, and if they've been honest with themselves during the week, they really invited Manly back into the game with their own mistakes. They've just jumped to a 12-point lead. Les Davidson dropped the ball straight away from the kickoff. That may jerk them and just remind them, hey, we can't afford mistakes. We're 12 points in front. We've just got to control the ball and control our field position.
That's Peden taking the ball up now, despite the fact they nearly did score. I still don't think that they're looking that fluent in attack, the Newcastle side. A little bit disjointed. Johns Brothers not finding the support where and when they want it. That kind of defence isn't helping them.
Tracy now. Go over to the left, and this is Harrigan. Harrigan trying to run straight over the top of the Cronulla defenders. Back now, long pass for Andrew. He finds Matthew. A second man play, and then across the face of another. Grogan throws the pass desperately. Marquette has it for Newcastle. This is the last tackle. Matthew Johns puts it in the air. Ainscough, it's been touched in flight, and Rogers puts it down. Muir, he scores! Adam Muir scores! The ball was touched in flight.
Well, a complete mix-up there from the Cronulla catchers. Made it a pretty easy task for Muir. He scored under the post, that's important. Matthew Johns getting the kick away. Chases onside. The Cronulla players seem to collide here. It's exactly what they do. Matt Rogers and Ben Samet both going for the football. It popped loose. Muir picks up what is a gift of a try at an important time in the match.
Well, the ball was actually touched by Cronulla. Eddie Ward said 6 more. will play on for everyone. That's why the Newcastle players are deemed to be onside. And how dangerous a weapon is it, the high kick, especially in semi-final time?
Raises another interesting question, the value of the charge down. Is it all that worthwhile?
Well, I guess if you can prevent the ball going towards your in goal and it's an advantage.
12 metres out, right in front. Newcastle comes back. 12-6 down now.
I thought Matt Rogers erred there. The one thing when you're bombing towards the post, you don't want your winger coming in from the sideline to interfere with what's going on. There would have been Newcastle players out on the edge there. Had they received the ball, they could have thrown it wide, and Matt Rogers wouldn't be there. I don't like to see the wingers get under the ball unless it's actually kicked directly to them over in the far corner and they've got no other choice. Coming in like that, there was only disaster could happen for them. He had to be out on the edges there, waiting to see what happened with that kick and leave it to his fullback.
Here's this man again, Adam Muir. And he has really been so dominant for the Newcastle forward pack today.
What about the spring in the step now of the Newcastle side? We saw it. Cronulla find an extra gear after they registered their first 4-pointer. That's 3 tackles now, and they're almost back to the halfway line.
McCormack now goes across, and Andrew Johns goes out the back of Harrigan. Picks up Matthew. Ainsko comes in, turns on the accelerator, but the pass goes astray. It was helped by Cronulla. 6 more tackles for Newcastle. Matthew Johns, now Harrigan. Around the bootlaces, Aaron Raper. Robbie Ross. Matthew Johns. Andrew. A dummy from Marquette, or a decoy run. This is Tracy. Centre of the ground, 30-metre line behind them. Muir to the 20 metres. Nicow and Raper make the tackle. This could be the second tackle. Andrew Johns stepping up to the line. He's able to beat one. Flicks in for Muir. Muir lets McCormack go. Billy Peden is pulled down.
Numbers to the left.
3 metres out from the line. And they come to the right. Grogan puts a stabbing kick in, and again it's taken dead by Cronulla. Herman went very close.
Well, I still think they came the wrong way. As Peter said, they had an overlap on the left-hand side. Cronulla had plenty of troops on this side. In the end, Grogan, a nice snappy little kick into the in-goal. Good covering by Bateman.
Nathan Longhorn in 17 for Cronulla. Les Davidson has left the field. We're under siege now. 4.5 minutes to go to the break. Mitch Healy restarting from under his posts.
Healy's drop kick. He's got plenty of quality about it. Ross tackled on the first, on the 30-metre line. As Peden takes it to the 20 metre. Now, Harrigan running one out. The only support is the dummy half. This is Andrew Johns across now for Marquette. Marquette pulled down. 18 metres out from the line. Now into the centre. Matthew Johns, Robbie McCormack, able to stand. Knocked down, I think, by Cronulla. No, Eddie Ward, yes he has. He's restarted it now. He got a call from the touch judge. Ross put down on the first. 18 out from Cronulla's line. McCormack up the centre. Andrew Johns slammed down by Ettinghausen. To the left and then back to the centre. Matthew Johns. Now Tracy. This is Peden. But though they've been given 6 more by Eddie Ward, it's been fairly sloppy. Now they come wider. Matthew Johns, it was a clubbing tackle by Green. Green has hurt himself. Grogan's path was forward. But he allowed play to go, and Andrew Johns is tackled. 2 metres out from the line. Now it's from Ross. He kicks it across. Tracy, Harrigan, he's pulled down. Magnificent defence.
That's great defence by the Sharks. They had 3 or 4 great opportunities there to score, and desperation defence has kept them out. Harrigan, how close did he get?
Tremendous tackle just previous to that as well by Nathan Long. Samet coming up with an important tackle there. What about Robbie Ross? Didn't have time to, or couldn't get his hands free to pass the football, so he kicked it across. It was brilliant play.
I've got to say that is the second time in this game. Newcastle looked very dangerous out wide on the left, and Paul Harrigan, a front rower, has presented himself in the back line I know he's a very damaging runner, but you'd like the ball in a more skillful pair of hands. Nothing against Paul Harrigan. You want your speed men out on the edges there in attacking situations.
2.25 minutes on the clock, and Aaron Raper taken from behind. Away from Green into Healy, and now for Nikau. Right on the halfway line, centre of the ground. Fifth tackle, 12-6 Cronulla. 38 minutes coming up on the clock. It came off the chest, I fancy, and that's the way Ward has ruled. No hands, no arms involved. And Ross worked with Ainscow. They put together their customary play down the narrow channel there. O'Davis involved. They come across the field for Andrew Johns. Over the 40, Grogan does the juggling. Did well, really, under the tackle of Bateman.
You notice these two Johns boys do throw the ball well out in front of their teammates and ask him to run onto it. It is a great tactic, but it does create the situation where you're catching the ball with defence all around you. Grogan did a terrific job to catch the ball there.
McCormack supports Muir, and then Ross supports McCormack. Then they float the pass. It's with Billy Peden. He puts the fend on. They got the numbers. Peden pulled down 12 metres out from the line. Here's O'Davis. He rolls it in, but Rogers turns defence into attack, and then a stunning tackle.
Oh, waste of an opportunity there as O'Davis went for the corner shot. Had a long line set out to the right. It was only about the third or fourth tackle.
This is Ryan. And they're 5 metres from the halfway line. Green lets Whitson go. He finds Healy. They've got numbers on the left, and they use them. Barnett, he starts to extend inside for Nikau. Brought down by Marquette. Away for Green. Shows it to Danny Lee. Then he gives it to Danny Lee. And he gets a pass away. Healy on. Green with it. Long outside him. So is Rogers. Rogers infield. Green. Can he get it away? It's a forward pass.
Oh, hasn't there been some great last-ditch defence there by Newcastle. Paul Marquette's having a huge game. He saved a try a minute ago with a flying tackle. In the end, there's a forward pass on the end of this movement, the one back in field from Rogers. So Eddie Ward said.
So the siren in the background, Paul Green and the Cronulla Sharks in front. 12-6 at the break. They've scored 2 tries to 1. And we're watching a continuation of what happened here at the Sydney Football Stadium last weekend. Sheer excitement. Brilliant stuff. 12-6 at the break. We'll take that, then we'll come back with more Nine's coverage of the Winfield Cup finals of 1995.
Newcastle going into the break, the Sydney Football Stadium in this elimination final. They do lead 12 points to 6. And statistically, they've had to do a good job here because they haven't had as much possession as their opposition. The handling errors down the bottom, it shows that both sides have really handled the ball quite well. Unfortunately for both teams, although they've only come up with 3 handling errors, those have proven very costly in allowing the other team to score points. Not many line breaks there, a little bit more possession, as I said, for the Newcastle side, but they are 6 points in arrears, Fatty, and the feature, as you pointed out, really of the first half was the scrambling defence from both sides.
Oh, it's been great. Desperation defence, especially on their own lines. I think the Newcastle back row are playing terrific football. Cronulla up front, the forwards are doing the job. Denny Lee's having a great game, and Green, he's been the best player in the park. And there was Cronulla who started so well and got to the 12-0 lead. Newcastle came back into it, Pete.
Yeah, pointed out that the handling errors have cost both sides, even though they haven't committed many, and that was how the first try eventuated. I thought very bad defence from Newcastle. I thought this was a try that should not have been scored. No communication out wide. We saw Matt Rogers run 50 metres to score.
Well, first of all, from the turnover, Newcastle didn't regroup. They didn't get their line set, and as a result, there's a mile of space out wide, and E.T., well, he wasn't tackled, but there was a look at all the Newcastle defenders there. No one has laid a hand on Matt Rogers, and that is poor defence. Robbie tries very hard, O'Davis, to get Matt Rogers. He's got a bit more pace than I thought he had. Matt Rogers did very well to score that try for Cronulla.
Pretty ordinary defence from Robbie Ross on the inside as well. He didn't react until it was too late. Exactly. Well, they, as Paul pointed out, went to a 12-0 lead. The second try coming from Paul Green. A kick from Aaron Raper. They do have a lot of success with the kicking game. This time, not the way we normally see it. A good bounce for them, an awful one for Herman, the winger.
Oh, this is just what the rugby league football can do, isn't it? You know, once again, plenty of Newcastle players there, but Cronulla got the right bounce of Paul Green. Once again, beautiful pictures there from that special camera we've got. And look at the delight on Paul Green as he jumps up and down. What a great week for him.
Yeah, tremendous week. And as you say, playing a great game. If Cronulla had been the next side to score,
it was all over.
It was all over. So obviously extremely important that Adam Muir was able to come up with a try, a soft try really in the end. Again, an awful mistake really at the back made by the winger and the fullback Ben Samet.
Yeah, this was actually touched by a Cronulla player, so it was play on with 6 to go. And Matt Rogers and the fullback, no communication. One of them should have hung back. As Phil Gould said, you know, the winger should stay back, wait for the crumbs, if any. And it was always the fullback's football for mine. When they made the mistake and E.T. comes up with a missed tackle, that's rare, but Adam Muir had the advantage there over E.T.
Well, Newcastle will be buoyed by the fact they are within 6. They did trail 12 points to nil. At the break, it's anybody's game. And tomorrow, of course, there's only one way to start a Sunday afternoon. That's the Footy Show. And our guests include Chris Johns.
Where we've got another very tight semi-final on our hands. 12-6. Sharks over Newcastle. 40 minutes of sudden death football in front of them. And, of course, Newcastle very much walking the tightrope. Had they not been the team that scored third, then the job would have become almost impossible. They were trailing 12-0. And then they were able to get the try, Adam Muir, to send them back into proximity, or closer proximity. 12-6 the score. Half-time, Cronulla over Newcastle. The Sharks probably aching for another shot at Manly. That's the team waiting. The winner of this match today. Of course, tomorrow it'll be Canterbury versus Brisbane for the right to play Canberra in the elimination finals of next weekend. And that, of course, takes us into the grand final. So I would imagine that you might not have noticed that man that just walked out and went looking for his seat on the benches, Dr. Peter Malouf, the Cronulla doctor. He would have been busy, but no more busy than the Newcastle doctor, because the captain here, Harrigan, suffered an ankle injury. Ainscough, a shoulder and knee injury. Matthew Johns, an ankle injury. Let's have a look at the work rates now. Those walking wounded are all back out there, so it appears. There's the Cronulla work rate.
Well, it just gets boring, doesn't it, reading out Danny Lee's name all the time. At the top of the heap, 20 tackles and 8 hit-ups. A great game by him, and Nick Howe doing plenty of work as well. And for Newcastle, Paul Harrigan, look, 14 hit-ups leading the way there, and 4 marquettes, 17 tackles, many of them desperation ones which have saved situations for the Newcastle Knights. Right then.
Eddie Ward blows time on, and here we go. I wonder which group of supporters will basically drop out in 40 minutes from now. Sean Ryan takes the first tackle of the second half, and Aaron Raper takes the second. Aaron had an outstanding first half, I'm very, very happy to report. And had a very unlucky second half last Sunday. And this is Nathan Long. Was that a high tackle from Muir? It's been allowed to go. As they press on towards the 40-metre line, and Healy lands it down, the sun in the eyes of Ross. And Herman has to go across and bring it away off the 10-metre line. Well, Steve Roach, what have you been able to find out at half-time?
Yeah, well, Johnny Lang was pretty happy. He thought Newcastle had all the football in the first half. He'd like to see his side with a little more urgency coming out of trouble. He doesn't think they're getting back quick enough. He said they've got to spread a little bit more in attack. They've been bunched on a number of occasions in that first half. He said, keep doing what you've been doing when you led 12-0. Don't give Newcastle a sniff. You're inviting them back into the game, while for Newcastle, only one replacement there. O'Davis is off with a back injury. He's been replaced by Ashley Gordon. Newcastle's coach Malcolm really wants his team to play the percentages. Stop giving away silly penalties when you've got them pinned on their own line. The forced passes are costing him. Be patient. The game's got another 40 minutes to go.
Right, Stephen, as Matthew Johns puts it down into the corner, and Barnett with his left ankle heavily taped. Now Ward is going to penalise the Newcastle players.
Well, you talk about not giving away silly penalties. Here's one here. High tackle and a chance to keep Cronulla in their own 15-metre zone. Now with the penalty, they're up around the 30 or 40-metre area.
Change for the Sharks as well. Jeff Bell is now out there in jersey 16. Had a great game for them last week. He's taken the spot of Alan Bateman. There's Mitch Healy, another great touch finder.
So Ashley Gordon is on. Robbie O'Davis is off for Newcastle. Alan Bateman is off for Cronulla. In fact, there's Bateman now, and Jeff Bell has gone on, and Adam Ritson makes the mistake. The scrum will go down just outside the Newcastle 30-metre line. Wasn't a good pass to give a big fellow. Crouched down to take it in. So Newcastle now with Johns succumbing under that tackle. And they keep coming to the left. Towards the member stand side of the Sydney Football Stadium, which is now enveloped in shadow. And Marquette carries the Newcastle cause into Cronulla's area. McCormack runs into a buffeting tackle from Eddinghausen. Muscled up Andrew Eddinghausen in defence so much in the last couple of years. Now the Johns boys combine. They try to put, it's Billy Peden. They try to put him through a gap out in the centres area. 5 tackles, and it will, I thought, go to the air. It's gone through the hands, and that's Darren Tracy, throws it out, and Aaron Raper dives on it for Cronulla.
And that is quite simply poor play. 5th tackle looking for the kicking option. They decided to run it. In the end, a simple turnover for Cronulla.
But it was stupid play at the end of it, wasn't it, too, from Adam Muir. He threw the ball back in, swings an arm there, comes up with possession. But on the inside, the Cronulla player could have picked it up very easily and raced the length.
Well, Eddie Ward quite obviously has taken a call from his touch judge here, because Muir went in on the tackle. Watch it. It looked like there might have been a high tackle, but he didn't contact him. And he was allowed to go on for about 10 metres before Ward called the penalty.
Well, I think that's exactly the same situation as we saw Robbie Ross. In the opening minutes of the game, the ball was dragged loose by a defender. And if that was called play on, I can't understand why that one wasn't as well.
Whitson and Green combine before Healy pushes on, and Eddinghausen dummies and then gives it out. And Samet joins the back line to be tackled by Peden. Now Nathan Long goes inside the 20-metre line. Cronulla Sutherland looking to be the next team to score. They lead 12-6 as it comes out for Nickau. Loses his footing on the football stadium surface. 18 out. Newcastle's turn to weather the storm. Green pilots a long pass out to his captain. Eddinghausen beautifully put down by Grogan. Now they're 12 out. They come back to the right for Green to go to the line, and then he opens them up with a beautiful pass, and Jeff Bell scores Cronulla's 3rd try.
Great ball from Paul Green. Held it back, a la Cliffy Lyons, and opened the gap up, and Bell, a very elusive player, was there to capitalise. See, Green realised that there's something on the inside. To freeze play there, it's an enormous hole. This player actually thinks the pass is going to the other Cronulla support player, but it goes to Jeff Bell, and Herman missed him completely. Great start to the second half.
Yeah, if you look at the Newcastle markers, they just did not work. They were very lazy. Both markers stood there and hardly moved. That left them plenty of room back on the inside. And Paul Green, what a game he's having.
Nicely constructed set of 6 by Cronulla. They attacked the left on tackle 1, came it back to Nickau on the right, and then back to Eddinghausen again on the left. Either side of the field being tested. When that happens, Newcastle forwards are caught in the middle of the field, having done a lot of chasing with no work to show, and there you saw them flat-footed on the line as Green was able to probe forward and put Bell over. That's the difference between the two sides. Cronulla are very quick to recover when the opposition stretches them. Newcastle not. As this game wears on, Cronulla will test them on both sides of the field, then come back through the middle.
So here's Rogers now. And the kick is spot on line. So they've turned the 4 into 6. And they've turned the lead into 18 to 6. 46 minutes gone. And back at the Sydney Football Stadium, a groan from the crowd. There's a high shot by Harrigan on Ritson. I thought the touch judge from this side would go in, but he didn't even look like moving. Here's the tackle. It strikes Ritson just below the right jawbone. May have hit the shoulder and bounced up. But they're on the 5th tackle now as Healy goes high, peppering Newcastle. The Cronulla chase, good. Ross. Penalty goes to Newcastle.
Well, he gets the penalty, but it was a magnificent take from Robbie Ross under all sorts of pressure. No doubt the chasers on the far side for Cronulla were well and truly offside. Ross didn't know that.
Nice positive start there from the restart by Cronulla. This is the 3rd time in a week they have been 12 points in front in a semi-final. Both times they've allowed the opposition back into the game with mistakes. I'm sure Johnny Lang would have said to them at half-time, this game is all about holding on to the ball and playing it at the other end. We don't have to invite them back into the game.
Here's Adam Muir sliding a pass. Sleight of hand. McCormack goes across. Matthew Johns out to his brother Andrew. Puts a fend on Green. Paul Green is able to wrestle his much bigger opposing number 7 to ground. Matthew into the hands of Harrigan. Harrigan locks the pass out, but Paul Green is able to come up with it.
He's just like a drover's dog, isn't he, Paul Green? His defence out there has been as good as anybody's on the paddock. Chasing, forcing mistakes. Again, no surprise to see he's the man that comes up with the ball with the poor passes thrown. Danny Lee makes a charge blindside.
He's the smallest shark out there, Paul Green, but having a whale of a game, isn't he?
That sort of pass from Paul Harrigan can be contagious too. When you're 12 behind on the scoreboard, you've got to concentrate on not trying to be catch-up football. Harrigan, that can get contagious, trying to force one out the back and turning the ball over. Newcastle have just got to bear down and hope the game comes back to them before the next 15 or 20 minutes.
There's Ross now. 25 out from his own line. 12 points behind Newcastle. Half an hour of the match remaining. This is Ashley Gordon. He came on at half-time to take the place of Robbie O'Davis, who I suspect hasn't been totally fit for 5 or 6 weeks. Grogan, half into space. Oh, Herman. Well, he positioned himself beautifully, but then seemed to take his eyes off the ball. It's play on, as you can see, and it's sloppiness from Newcastle. Muir. Back now for Johns. Cross for Ainsko. Ainsko. Away now for Gordon. Put down 27 metres out. Ainsko across for Andrew Johns, and now Matthew. Muir offered him a decoy. McCormack out wide. Into an opening. McCormack. 11 metres out from the line. The last tackle is coming. Ainsko on the blind side. Rolls it. Came off Cronulla. They didn't play at the ball. No restart of the tackle count. Andrew Johns with a high kick. Barnett is underneath it.
And did a great job as well, Richard Barnett, because he went straight to ground. If he'd have stood up after catching the football, they'd have taken him into the in-goal area. Danny Lee out from dummy half each one, and then gets picked up and driven.
I think I saw Danny Lee applauding the tackle of Darren Tracy there.
Yeah, he did.
Good sportsmanship.
11 metres away from the Cronulla line. Raper serves it on for the blonde-headed Nathan Long. Something about Nathan, when he takes a hit, he always looks like his head gets jolted back. But I think it's the fact that that hair is so conspicuous. Raper's having a fine game. 18-6, 12 in front. 52 minutes gone almost.
We've asked the question a couple of times during the week and did so on the footy show on Thursday night of the Cronulla players and Johnny Lang as to what they learnt last week out of that loss to Manly. This is where it's important. In their minds, they've been in this position before. Last week it fell apart for them. And that's what experience is all about, knowing how to handle situations when you've been in them before and making them work to your advantage.
I think it's very important for individuals and teams to learn by mistakes, is being honest with themselves. Cronulla had to be honest with themselves last week. They blew the game. And I'm sure Johnny Lang showed them on the tape that Manly didn't so much beat them as Cronulla invited them back into the contest.
Rogers gets a rebound off the chest of Gordon. And now Ryan is wrestled down by Ross.
There's been some very smart play there by Cronulla, keeping that ball in play. They had two players who were heading out over the touchline, and casual little flicks back inside the football, and they survived.
Now Cronulla set to go wide, and it's Healy letting Long go before Eddinghausen finds Bell, and Bell, the second half try scorer, is 25 out from the line.
I wonder if they'll think of the 1 point, even this early in the second half. 13 lead. Would be almost insurmountable, you would think.
Well, Danny Lee plays it, and Raper goes to the blind side, puts in a little kick for himself, and the winger, and it beats them over that dead ball line.
Ray, I really think Jamie Ainsco's got to start having to have a look what's in front of him. His opposing centre, Andrew Eddinghausen, is spending a lot of time on the other side of the field, and they're threatening with numbers over there. Ainsco marking up on Eddinghausen's over here on the left-hand side of the field, marking no one. I think he's got to help his defence line out and be prepared to take a chance and follow Eddinghausen across field.
Marquette now plays it, and McCormick serves it up, and this man is Muir, and he really has tried hard today. Grogan. 4 or 5 metres into Cronulla's area. Newcastle. Time is still there. They can get back. They're down 12 points, but here is Ainscough working with Gordon, and Gordon is pulled down 32 metres away from the Sharks line. They go over for Matthew Johns and Andrew to combine, and now coming back in is Marquette, or it's Peden in fact. Harrigan has left the field. On the last tackle, Matthew Johns goes to the air, and they all appear onside. It comes down with Newcastle, and he's given 6 more tackles. A chance for the night. They go for one to the blind side for Butterfield. 5 metres out. All of the ground to work in. Players falling on the ground to get out of the road. Matthew Johns around the back for Darren Tracy. And this is Grogan. Grogan gets it on for Herman. Herman, an evasive run, gets it away. It's now with Matthew Johns, and he's inside the 20-metre line. That's where he's pulled down. Centre of the ground. McCormick runs from dummy half, and then Muir goes for his second, and he gets it. Muir scores his second try.
Oh, what a great effort by Muir. He's been Newcastle's best player, no doubt about it.
A yawning gap up the middle there, and the dummy half took full advantage of it. As we freeze play there, you can see the markers have split, and that opens a hole up the middle. That's the first thing a marker must not do, is to go the other side before the ball is left. Very, very poor marker play there from the second marker. Muir had a bit to do, but he's a strong back rower. Robbie McCormack, he draws the one marker. Danny Lee.
Oh, he had a bit to do, all right. The determination of Adam Muir. It's just brilliant stuff from him. He's left one behind, and now he's got the long reach of Rooney in front of him and plants it.
It's very important, that reach of Rooney. 12 metres out now. From almost in front for Andrew John. There it goes. Flags in the air. Newcastle 6 behind. 15 to go. And back at the Sydney Football Stadium, proving that mathematics was not one of my better subjects. We have 24 minutes out from full-time. Phil Gould. Here's a break, half break anyway by Peden. Now Johns. His brother, Ainscough, 31 metres out from the Cronulla line. Gordon, Matthew John, Andrew, holds it back. Muir in again. Put down 30 metres out from Cronulla's line. Newcastle have been playing catch-ups. Can they draw level? 25 out centre of the ground. McCormick, Andrew John. Kicks out Marquette. They've gone to Ainscough. Ainscough kicks. Rolling ball. Samet equal to it.
A great set of 6 there by Newcastle, going almost the length of the field. Just wondering if anything, the Cronulla players, what's going through their minds? Are they starting to think, here we go again, letting the Knights back into the match, as they did with Manly last week?
Putting a lot of pressure over on Rogers' side of the field here. I thought that previous try there from Newcastle started when Matt Rogers came off his wing again and completed for a bomb that he didn't necessarily have to go for. And the try itself, Adam Muir is causing this side a lot of problems with his one-arm ball carries. He's one of those very talented players that can hold it very outstretched in his arm and still have full control of it, as you saw when he planted the ball down.
This is a charge down. No knock on. They've come back with the ball.
And that's good work by Grogan, just to get the ball and actually go to ground with it. Now they get a penalty. If he had tried to maybe do something with the football, maybe sprint away, there's every chance he could have dropped it. But just to go to ground was nice work by him. And once again, a charge down. I don't value the charge down very highly. On this occasion, they've had some luck with it, Newcastle.
So the tap. 25 out. They come straight across the ground with 3 passes. And they reach the centre with Peden. Harrigan is back on. He wants it. Harrigan ran straight at Nathan Long. McCormack. Andrew Johns. Decoys. Players in motion. Muir. Back and away for Matthew Johns. A fend on Green. Back for Ross. Ross stands. Finds Grogan on the 20-metre line. They're losing ground, though, in possession. Played by Grogan. Herman now for Muir. Muir lines them up again. Gives it away for Ross. Ross away for Johns, and Andrew stands away from a tackle. Pulled down 8 metres out. McCormack gets the call on the left. The run around. And now for Harrigan. And Harrigan is held 10 metres out. Oh, that'll be a penalty. It is. It called on him to play the ball.
Well, it's a shame the end of that passage resulted in a penalty, because it was great rugby league from both sides. Paul Harrigan must have realised that the tackle had been completed. Obviously, he didn't hear a call. That's why Cronulla are doing so well in this year's premiership. Their defence is absolutely outstanding. Countless times they're driving their opponents back when they haven't got the football, and they scramble so well.
Just reminding you, 20 minutes to go in the minute.
They're able to stay alive, aren't they, when the opposition keep the ball alive. Quite often, a forward who can get a ball back to a quicker player creates broken play, but Cronulla stay alive in defence until the ball's absolutely dead.
Now, is this Kearns? Yeah, Robbie Kearns is on for Cronulla in 23. And Ritson is just beyond the 40-metre line. His own end. Ryan has gone off. There's Nickau. Drives the Cronulla attack to the halfway. Nathan Long gets a good quick play of the ball. Took the ball on the ad line. Reaches the 40-metre line. Raper. Green. Long ball for Healy. He kicks for his captain and Barnett. They're leading the race, are they? No, it's going to beat them all. Back to the 20-metre line for the restart for McCormack. And this was the kick, and then there was a 3-man chase. Ross, I suppose you can see by that he always had them comfortably covered. Just outside the 30-metre line then for Newcastle, trailing by 6, 18 to 12, 18 and a half minutes to go. Johns, the 5'8", Matthew. John Lane, the Cronulla coach, wondering, is this going to be a repeat of last Sunday? 40 metres away from the Cronulla line. Last tackle and a penalty. It's against the markers for interfering. So a chance for Newcastle.
And late in the tackle count, you cannot give them away. Adam Muir, he's having a vintage game out there. Harrigan lines up now. Takes it inside the 20, attracts 3 defenders.
So Andrew Johns has got players lining up behind him. As Billy Peden takes this play, 15 out. They're set to come back on the left. They go to the right and then switch it back to the left, and then through the Johns brothers. Inside ball for Adam Muir. and he's given a penalty for obstruction. Cronulla gets the penalty. The defence was obstructed, he said. And I can't argue with that.
That's a fair call, that one. Aaron Raper was taken out by the Newcastle decoy runner.
It's a tremendous play if the defender isn't that close. Canberra use it particularly well, looking like they're going to give it to the runner, running the same angle as the ball carrier and then picking up a second man. Problem there was that Aaron Raper was too close. And he was definitely obstructed.
So Cronulla now. Robbie Kearns, tackled by Marquette. Underneath the tackle of Harrigan. Ritson to the halfway line for Green. And gain in that last tackle as Nickau strides out. Muir takes him around the legs.
There's Davidson back on. Nathan Long has left the field. There's Davo now dropping the shoulder.
18-12, Cronulla leading in this first elimination semi-final. And Paul Green playing it now, 33 metres out from the Newcastle line. They go to the air off Aaron Raper's boot, and Ross has had a superb game, Robbie Ross, and one of the Cronulla players I think might have come out of that injured.
Yeah, Mitch Healy took an accidental boot there. Ross getting his foot up very high and collecting Mitch Healy. Actually, the 5'8" is okay as Ashley Gordon and sideways. You see here the boot takes Healy. It's been quite nasty.
Fairly negative set of six from Cronulla there, I thought. Falling back into the trap and trying to protect the 6-point lead. And as we said many times during the call, they've been in this position leading before. But they've got to remain positive. They've got to be looking to stretch Newcastle's defence around.
Newcastle went 3 sets of hands to find the kicker, and Samet is going to be tackled in good field position for Cronulla. They've got it on the first tackle to the halfway line, and this is Barnett. Eddinghausen a dummy half. He hasn't laid a mark on this game like he did against Manly.
He's got to be laying a mark on his teammates, Ray. His experience has got to come to the fore here. He's got to be talking to them. He knows that they threw it away last week. They're in a position where they're under pressure here after having a 12-point lead. He's the man that they're looking to talk them through this one.
So the drop goal attempt by Healy is wide. And so it'll come back to the 20-metre point for the tap to restart.
It's a poor sign for Cronulla. Not that they went for the field goal, the fact they only made 15 metres in that set of 6 before having to kick on tackle 5. One out running. Eddinghausen into dummy half. Aaron Raper took a long time to come back. No support for the ball carrier. They won't want to protect this lead or Newcastle will get them. They've got to keep keeping Newcastle under pressure in defence.
Harrigan now. About 8 metres short of halfway. With 14 minutes on the clock. And Newcastle trailing by 6. And there's the break. It's Muir again making the break. Beautiful pass by Johns. 35 metres out from the Cronulla line. They're struggling to get the straight line together. It's come over for Ainsko. He beats the tackle, gets it inside. That is Tracy. Now, this is Gordon. Ashley Gordon put on the hurdy-gurdy and put down.
A big line here on the last. They'll run it.
McCormack on through Matthew John. Andrew kicks. Robbie Ross is after it, but Cronulla, they didn't force it. It's a try. It's a try for Newcastle.
Andrew Eddinghausen has made the mistake. Tried to pick it up, and Robbie Ross, the fullback, has scored the try. 14 minutes to go. A kick to come. We could be locked up here. I talked about Andrew Eddinghausen talking them through this game, but he just had to dive on this. He tried to do too much.
That's a great chasing over by Robbie Ross. The Johns boys, they're playing well. They're really coming into their own now. There was a mile of space on the right. This is beautiful play. E.T., an experienced player like him, should have just dived on this football. But there's the mistake, and Robbie Ross, persistence personified, has paid off.
You can put that try down to the 2 poor sets of 6 by Cronulla earlier. At the moment, and like I said before, there is only one side attacking. Cronulla put their cue in the rack, wanted to protect the lead, come up with 2 negative sets of 6. Newcastle get a breather without much defence to do, and then able to run it 3 times in the one set, come up with a good chase on the kick. Cronulla invited Newcastle back into the game by not being competitive when they had the ball. Now they find themselves in a situation where they probably have to score again to win, and they've got to get themselves out of the walking mentality they've had themselves in.
About that, Rabbi, persistence personified. Beautiful stuff.
Well, I don't know whether this is the side, Cronulla, whether they can shut down and protect the lead. Every time they do that, they seem to become introverted to the point that they're not the same side. They're better as a free runner. So here's Andrew Johns. He's going to make it level. Yes! 18 points all. Cronulla and Newcastle. What's happening?
Hey,
minutes of the match is gone. 18 points all. Newcastle have come from 18-6 to level.
And this is a crucial set of 6 here. The momentum is now their way. Very important to get a good set of 6 after you've scored points. Adam Muir tackled centre field. 2 tackles left, so they're going to kick in pretty good position. Doing a good job.
This fullback today for Newcastle. I know Adam Muir has been absolutely outstanding. But Robbie Ross, the fullback, has had a superb game. The bounce, almost favoured Newcastle. Matt Rogers is with it.
Yeah, great chase by Ainscough, who kept himself onside to put some pressure on the Cronulla defenders. And then lucky to get out of it, Matt Rogers. Ainscough missed the tackle.
Inside the 11th minute now. Outside the 30-metre line, Barnett. Adam Ritson. Notice Greenhill stretching down on the sidelines. He left the field injured with a bad cork. They're thinking of bringing him back on.
That was tremendous work there from Tony Herman. He saved his side probably 15 or 20 metres. Didn't catch the ball on the full as he gets out of dummy half, but he didn't let it go over his head and roll away. And all of a sudden, 2 tackles gone. They're already 33 metres out from their own line.
Now Tracy. They don't come any tighter, blocker.
Yeah, sensational game, Maz. I have to agree with Gus. They've gone to sleep, the Cronulla side. They're shut up shot. A lot of running from dummy half. Haven't got a good kick away. Their chase hasn't been that good neither.
They're on the halfway line, the Novocastrians. They come wide and they go to their captain, and Harrigan has to hold the tackler at bay without passing out the back. Opted against that. The last is with them now, and Andrew Johns. He puts a kick deep. Ainscough is after it. The bounce goes to the left. And Rogers wrapped up by Ainscough.
Well, Andrew Eddinghausen has been the best chaser on kicks in the competition this year. But Jamie Ainscough is fast closing that gap. They're kicking deliberately for Ainscough. He's staying onside, as Paul pointed out, and getting through very quickly.
So we're told now from the statisticians that Newcastle have used all 6 interchanges. Cronulla have got 1 left.
He just learned a little lesson too, Jamie Ainscough. On the previous kick, he allowed Matt Rogers just to fall on the ball and didn't attack him. That time when Rogers fell on the ball, he hammered him even though he even hadn't got up from the ground. You can't let them off lightly.
Cronulla, talking of interchanges, are about to use their last. And that'll be Greenhill coming back into the match. Robbie Ross, Tony Herman. Right on the halfway line, Ritson is off.
Both sides falling into the trap now. The only person moving is the person with the ball. Both defences tired, both attacking sides very tired, and they're tending to have a break when they have the ball, just trying to work out who's going to take up the advantage and break the deadlock. You've got to push yourself. If you're tired, you've got to understand they're tired too.
Now, Muir. Adam Muir.
Just wondering if the Johns boys are thinking field goal. It's a long range. They need to get another 10 or 15 metres down the park.
Andrew Johns it is, who's brought down now on the 5th tackle, 25 out. They got to slow play the ball. They're going to go for it. Well, they had to rush it. Oh, Danny Lee! Danny Lee is knocked on.
Well, that's the next best thing if you're a Newcastle supporter. Oh, no luck for Danny Lee there. He's had an outstanding game. And this one's come to him 100 miles an hour. A fluffed kick. And there he looks up and sees the ball travelling right at his melon.
So another opportunity for Newcastle. They haven't seen the lead. Are they about to grab it? Played by Matthew Johns. Now this is Peden. Tackled on the 10-metre line by Nicow. Grogan, McCormack, Harrigan. No runners.
They can't think field goal here. They've got to try and score the try and then take the field goal as the option if they don't get the 4 points.
Here's Andrew Johns. He got away from a defender that came up quickly. It was Greenhill. Andrew Johns across, links up with Grogan. Grogan's to the 10-metre line, gets a pass in. Peden picks it up, and then the defence picks him up. Herman. There's the 10-metre line in front of them. Now, Muir. There's that one-handed ball carry, which created so much problem for Cronulla. The last, they're going for it. There goes the shot. It looks okay. The hand will go up. It does. Newcastle, they're in front.
Matty Johns getting deep behind the play of the ball. That's the beauty of having options. People were looking for Andrew Johns. It went back to Matthew. He struck it beautifully. Some good pressure coming through, but he was very deep and hit it sweetly.
And Newcastle storming back into the match. Saw Johnny Lane going for a drink there.
So Cronulla behind for the first time.
As I said, the last set of 6 after they scored points was an important one. This is even more crucial, and there's the mistake. Herman has dropped the ball, been knocked out. He's got to get to his feet. They can't have 12 in the defence.
Davidson picked off by Peden. Big tackle. 12 metres out. The blind side, they're outnumbered there. Green, Barnett has to come back into the centre.
Tony Herman hasn't moved.
So, Raper across for Healy. Nicow taken by the Johns brothers. 11 metres out. Here's Samet. 3 metres from the line.
They've got numbers to the left.
He kicks Healy. It's going over the dead ball line. And the numbers on the left, they went up like a chorus.
Well, look, for a semi-final, a crunch game, which it is, that's a very ordinary play there from Cronulla. They had a mile of players out on the left-hand side. They just didn't use it. Here's Herman. He was knocked out as soon as he hit the defensive line there. Still, he's down in play.
I know it's a very callous thing to say that players have got to get to their feet, especially when it is so obvious that he has been injured. But really, you've just got to get up and put your body there.
Well, they've used all 6 replacements. They'll be hoping he's got some blood on him somewhere just so he can send him to the blood bin. He's very, very dazed.
I think the other thing was that there were no Newcastle players within 20 metres of him once Cronulla got the football. No one to urge him to get up. Oh, that always helps.
He did get hit high there from Aaron Raper.
Yeah,
well.
Raper got him with the forearm right across the mouth. Harrigan, 40 metres out from his own line. Herman stays on the paddock. This is Marquette. Neither of them now can make a change. They've both used their interchanges. The only thing they can do is use the blood bin. Now, Ross. 1 point. Newcastle in front. Sudden death football. And at this stage, it looks like it might be Cronulla that is going to make the exit. Andrew Johns puts a kick in. Samet comes back.
They can't afford to give away a penalty. They've got good field position. They have to play at this end of the field for as long as they can. No penalties is the order of the day for the Knights. They can't give them another set of 6 at the other end. Here's Danny Lee winding up.
The other thing is, if Cronulla get a chance, do they go for the 19-all draw? Look for extra time.
Green menacing the defence. but looking for runners. He can't find them, and Eddinghausen's pass finds Newcastle's Marquette on the halfway.
The pressure of being behind on the scoreboard. It tells, especially in these big games, Newcastle, they've got to keep stretching Cronulla. They don't want them just resting while Newcastle's got the ball. You've got to put them on both sides of the field. Have their attacking players coming up with tackles. You don't want the likes of Eddinghausen and Barnett simply sitting back and having a rest for a minute so they can come back at you. You've got to stretch them around a little bit, even though there's only moments remaining.
So Gordon plays it in the centre of the park. And Newcastle now.
Look for the in-goal here.
With Andrew Johns, he kicks, H goes after it. The bounce! Matt Rogers got the bounce. Ainsko was storming down on him. Was there a marker? The referee said no, play on.
He's lucky to get away with that one.
Paul Green. It's out through Midge Healy. It's gone on now from Nicow and Bell. It's with the winger and back in for Nicow.
Ainsko's got to follow Andrew Eddinghausen wherever he goes. I know he's tired, but if he leaves Eddinghausen on the other side of the field unmarked, Cronulla can pull one off. Ainsko has got to follow Eddinghausen. It's all he's got to worry about.
2 minutes and 15 seconds left on the clock. Newcastle by 1. Was that knocked down by Newcastle? No, says the referee. He signified the last tackle. Pass was forward from Green, picked up by Grogan. Grogan passes. Barnett comes up with it. And Cronulla, they get another opportunity. Danny Lee.
I can't believe that.
Poor decision there by Eddie Ward. That ball went a mile forward on tackle 5. It's an immediate turnover as soon as the infringement's on.
Now, Kearns.
They've got to work for the 1 point, you would think.
Raper. 30-metre line, just in front of them.
Mitch Healy's the man.
I can see a trainer just ran out in the park and gave a message to ET and to Paul Green.
Lee plays the ball. Here comes the shot. He can't get it in. Green goes across for Samet. Samet goes for it. How close is it? Just off. Just away to the right. So the 20-metre tap to restart.
Oh, frantic stuff. Ben Samet ended up with the football. He hit it pretty nicely. Have a look how close this is.
What? Oh, turn it up. That's incredible. That was a field goal from the moment it left his boot. And it's just faded away.
45 seconds.
Now Gordon. We want to be careful, Newcastle. Ashley Gordon almost gave them a voluntary tackle. That would give them a penalty and a shot at goal. Ainsko. Oh, he just kept his feet inside. He was walking the tightrope. He has stopped the clock. Blows time on now. Well, Eddie Ward is going to move the play the ball.
Well within his rights.
Tracy. 40 metres out. 12 seconds on the clock. Newcastle slowing it down. And Eddie Ward, I think he might have said, if you don't play it, I'll put you in the sin bin. They put it over the sideline. That will soak up time. And Newcastle have won. 19 points to 18. Well, Cronulla Sutherland have done it again. They led Manly by what seemed an unassailable lead. And now they've done the same with the Knights. And Newcastle has won. 19 points to 18. One of the miracles of 1995. Well, Paul Green can hardly believe it. I'm sure the Cronulla players must be wondering what it is they've done wrong. Their supporters. Look at their faces. Just incredible. There's the man, Adam Muir. What a game. 2 tries. Johnny Lang consoling his players, thanking his players. These are the faces of rugby league disappointment. Their sporting heroes have been lowered twice in a week. Yeah. Unbelievable in one word. 19-18 to Newcastle. We'll take a break and come back and have a look at it again in just a moment.
The loser. Today, Cronulla have exited from the 95 Winfield Cup competition, going down to the Knights, 19 points to 18 in an amazing game of rugby league. The Knights, Adam Muir scored 2 tries, Robbie Ross got 1, Matthew Johns the all-important field goal, Andrew Johns 3 from 4. For the Sharks, Rogers, Green and Bell scored tries. Rogers kicked 2 from 4. Mitch Healy kicked 1 from 1. An amazing game of rugby league, and undoubtedly the standout performer for the Newcastle Knights was their back rower. He's taken out our man of the match, Adam Muir. He's now with Steve Rage.
Well, the Ansett Australia 1000 man of the match goes to Adam Muir. Outstanding performance from yourself, Adam. Twice you had to come back from 12 points down. Unbelievable effort from the Newcastle Knights.
It was, with so much support down here in the crowd egging us on like that, it's made it a lot easier for us to come back. People have been putting us down all week saying that we only just beat North and we had no chance of beating the Cronulla because they played so well last week. But in our hearts, we knew as soon as we play to our potential, we can match it with the Canberras and the Manlys any day.
Well, you saved the best for the semi-finals. It was pretty tough road, losing about 6 games coming into the semi-finals. But as I said, unbelievable performance from your blokes today.
Oh, again, yeah, like we did lose a few in the start, but after this win today, we've forgotten all about that, and now we're just looking forward to playing Manly next week, and we can't wait.
Could you believe that the Cronulla side bunched up that last 6 minutes? Both sides had used up all their replacements. That was that like? It looked like everyone was flat on their feet, just running one out.
Oh, unbelievable. A few of our boys got injured, and the trainer just come out to us and said, boys, like, you got to do it. We've got no more replacements. You've just got to keep on going. And we just kept on going until we got that field goal. And it's the best feeling I've ever had.
Well, I'll let you join your teammates. Congratulations from Ansett.
Thanks to Ansett and Channel 9.
An inspirational performance from Adam Muir. He had some sort of game, Fatty.
Pete, you know, when you look back in your career, and I think he'll say that's probably about the best game he's ever played in his career so far, maybe the best he'll ever play. Not far behind, you know, the other back rows, Paul Marquette and Darren Tracy did a lot of work. Paul Marquette, 36 tackles and some great ones amongst them. The Johns boys play well, and as Ray Warren said, Robbie Ross also had a great game.
Well, the Sharks, 2 weeks in a row, they had a 12-point lead. They've ended up being their own worst enemies. If they were shattered last week, I just can't imagine how they're feeling this week. Aaron Raper had a tremendous game for them again this afternoon. He's now with Andrew Voss.
Well, Aaron, I guess it's hard to believe the 1995 campaign is over.
Yeah, well, we worked hard, you know. I mean, we've been in front the last 2 games and we just can't go on with it. I don't know what the reason was, but, mate, Newcastle, they just kept on coming at us and they were just too strong, you know. I mean, you know, good luck to them. They're a very tough outfit, and they'll give Manly a good game next week.
I guess it's cruel on our part to suggest that the memories came flooding back from last week where you led Cronulla by 12 points, but was it that you started to doubt yourself when you led by 12 twice in the match?
No, I don't think so. I mean, like, game of football can do some funny things to yourself, you know. You can get a positive from it, you can get a negative from it. I think we just kept going forward, and, you know, like, Newcastle just too strong, like I said, you know, and 12 points doesn't really matter, you know. If you're in front in this game, it's 6 points a try, and, you know, with the Johns boys there, you can't do much about that.
Well, another matter, as it's turned out, your last game for the Sharks.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a better note that I've finished on ever in my life, so, I mean, I'm very proud to finish where we've finished. I mean, I would have been great to keep on going, but it's not the be, and that's my last game for the Sharks, I suppose, so, you know, it's a pretty sad occasion, but, you know, I'll be able to celebrate tonight, I think.
Well, you've still got World Cup selection in mind. Good luck with that.
Thanks very much.
Yeah, great attitude there from Aaron Raper. So disappointed. Side going down 19 points to 18 to the Newcastle Knights. Not the end of the season that they were looking for. They've had a tremendous year, and unfortunately gone down in a cliffhanger here at the Sydney Football Stadium. We'll take a break now and be back with more from League Headquarters. With Manly next weekend after defeating the Sharks here at the Football Stadium, 19 points to 18. Tremendous performance coming from behind. Pick the score, footy tab today, 19-18, $211.65. And, of course, the second elimination semi-final tomorrow sees Brisbane up against the Bulldogs. Which way, Paul?
Well, it depends on Alan Langer, Pete. If he plays, I'll stick with Brisbane, and it should be a great game, though, Brisbane up against Canterbury. Should be a beauty.
Well, the Sharks leave the competition for 1995. Newcastle stay alive. Tomorrow, the Bulldogs up against Brisbane. For now, on behalf of the entire 9 Rugby League footy crew, we wish you a very good night.
Bateman finds Ettinghausen. Rogers comes in. Rogers inside the 30. I don't think they're going to get him. No, he's over. Raper gets in a kick. Down to the ball. Down to the ball. Chance for Cronulla. Green. Celebrates a big week. Celebrates the ruckman when scores a try. Now they're 12 out. Come back to the right. Green to go to the line. And then he opens the hook with a beautiful pass. Run half. And then Muir goes for his second. And he gets it. Muir scores his second try. McCormack on to Matthew John. Andrew kicks. Robbie Ross is after it. But Cronulla, they didn't force it. It's a try. It's a try for Newcastle.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports. The Winfield